four things that we're going to go over that actually allow you to implement some sort of actionable step to be able to identify what your purpose is and pursue it. There's four precise things that anybody that lives with purpose currently on this earth or in the past, like MLK or George Washington or anybody, you can name any influential figure that had some sort of prominence. They all have these four things. What's up? So today we're going to be talking about purpose over pleasure. Most people are not depressed like the world claims them to be, or dresses them up to be, something wrong with them, right? Most people aren't actually depressed. They're just addicted to comfort and they're addicted to short-term dopamine release. Most people aren't lost, they're just chasing pleasure. They don't have a purpose. They don't know actually what they're doing in life. So, what is purpose over pleasure? Actually, if you define it and look at it, what actually is it? So purpose is something that's giving you long-term fulfillment, and pleasure is something that's just giving you a short-term escape. So something quick, some sort of a quick release of dopamine. You're probably thinking of something as I'm telling you about it. There's a bunch of different things that could be. That could be, something with the parties. That could be alcohol. That could be drugs. It could be just watching like Netflix, right? It could be porn, which is a big problem in society nowadays. It could just be doom scrolling, right? It's doing something that's just giving you a quick dopamine release, something that's giving you a quick reward that actually isn't leading you towards anything productive or anything you want to do in life. So, we're going to make an illustration here of what it looks like. We're going to have, let's call him Joe. Now, Mr. Joe right here. There's Joe. And, Joe, all he does, he's just drinking, smoking. There he's smoking. And I don't know. Probably can't illustrate porn on here, right? So we're just leaving it at that. Let's say Joe's just drinking and smoking, okay? He's just doing stupid stuff. Joe's has no purpose in life. He's just doing things that are just leading him absolutely nowhere, right? So why does Joe do that? Like why is Joe right here just distracted, walking around, just doing things that he thinks are fun but are actually killing him? Well, the reason why is because society pushes it on us. Society awards it. Society makes it so that way the algorithm on Instagram has it popping up where you're going to be controlled and just be basically doom scrolling, chasing short-term release of dopamine, and it wires your brain to actually function like that. That's why you see so many more people nowadays that are addicted to drugs, so many more people nowadays that are watching porn, so many more people nowadays that are drinking, so many more people nowadays that are sitting down watching, Netflix every single night, binge watching Netflix, getting no sleep. Now, most people are numb to this because they have so much dopamine abuse and so much abuse of their own brain of just repeatedly doing the same thing, like TikTok or whatever it may be, that they're not actually chasing after a mission. They don't actually have a purpose in life. They're just chasing after like their next hit of dopamine. You're awarded for your comfort and not for your contribution on actually what you're doing in society. That's what the problem is. So, okay, we have a pretty good understanding of what Joe does and what Joe's life is like, chasing after short-term things, watching Netflix. You can be watching Netflix too. They're just TVs. Joe's having fun. Right? So that's Joe. Joe's not gonna do anything in life unless he changes his habits, right? But why does Joe do that, right? We talked about because society pushes it on him. So how does purpose come into play? What actually is purpose? How's Joe's life gonna actually change? It's gonna be by identifying what his purpose is. And if you're listening to this and you're thinking, hey, you know, I'm not Joe. I'm not sitting down smoking, drinking, watching Netflix all day. But there's something. There's a little thing that you're doing. There's a vice that you're doing, right? There's something that's giving you short-term release that you know about. That maybe it's not all of those things, but there's something, right? What can you do to be able to get rid of that? It's going to be with your purpose. Okay, your purpose is basically pain with meaning. It's sacrifice with a meaning, with some sort of reason for actually pursuing it. It's something that's larger than yourself. It's waking up with some sort of direction in your life and not just drifting and letting life push you around. You have some sort of purpose or some sort of higher calling on your life that impacts not only you, but impacts other people as well. The best purposes, the best missions in life have greater outcomes and greater impact than just your own personal life. All purposes require sacrifice, right? But that sacrifice is worth it because the fulfillment provides you. Fulfillment often comes from impact. And honestly, if I think about it, I don't know anyone that has a meaningful purpose in their life that is not somehow influencing and impacting other people. Purpose isn't something that's just going to fall into your lap. It's something that you're going to have to build through constant action and constantly pursuing it, because at the end of the day, the world is a hyper competitive place. And the reason why it's hyper competitive is because you have these people that are competing based on what their purpose is. So if it's me versus you, and I know exactly what my purpose is, and I know how important every single second of my day is to be able to achieve this purpose, which is going to have monumental impact on other people, it's going to be a no-brainer for me to actually go after something on a day-to-day basis and pursue it, versus you, if you're sitting there like Joe and you have no sort of purpose in your life, you're just chasing short-term release of dopamine because you don't know what the heck you're trying to do in life and what your actual purpose and meaning to this life is. You're going to get your butt kicked every single time. You're going to get ran through against anybody that actually has purpose, because they're doing it for a larger reason than just themselves. If it's just you, if you're the only reason why, then you're gonna end up like Joe. Don't be like Joe. Matter of fact, let's get Joe out of here. All right. So that's that. Here's the harsh reality of the situation. If you don't create a legacy, then your entire life is gonna become forgotten. At some point in time, your life is gonna get forgotten if you don't create some sort of legacy and some sort of lasting impact on what you're currently doing. You're currently alive, you're just a glimpse of light in the vast majority of what human time and human existence is. You're just a little glimpse of that. So what are you going to do with that glimpse? Is that glimpse going to have some sort of actual impact and purpose and meaning to it and influence to it, to where other people are now affected by it? So therefore you create some sort of legacy. So instead of just being a quick little glimpse, you actually expand that. You expand your influence instead of being that short little sliver of what human time is and what human existence has been. You can expand that by doing something impactful, or are you just going to be okay with that little sliver? It's a genuine question. It's a genuine question. You could be okay with that little sliver. Some people are, a lot of people are, most people are. But that's a question you have to ask yourself. Men, there's the same words. Men are born twice, men die twice. Applies for women too. I'm a man, so that's what the saying is. I'm gonna say what the saying is. Okay, don't kill me. But men are born twice and they die twice. A man is born physically whenever he's actually born, but then a man is born a second time whenever he realizes what his purpose is. So that's why they say some people never live. Men die twice whenever they actually die. That's the first time whenever they die. And the second time they die is the last time that their name is said. So if you want to have some sort of legacy, you have to be able to identify what your purpose is. You have to actually be able to go after it. We're going to give you four things. There's four things that we're going to go over that actually allow you to implement some sort of actionable step to be able to identify what your purpose is and pursue it. There's four precise things that anybody that lives with purpose currently on this earth, or in the past, like MLK or George Washington, or anybody, you can name any influential figure that had some sort of prominence, they all have these four things. Well, stay tuned. That's me next, right? It's me next. Now, let's talk a little bit more about purpose and what's actually the harsh reality of purpose. If we don't actually implement purpose, what does life end up? Well, it's going to turn out where you're going to be suffering. You're going to suffer right now if you pursue purpose, but you're going to have the reward in the end, long-term gratification. But currently, if you pursue pleasure, it's going to feel great, but in the long term, you're going to suffer. So you have to choose your suffering. There's suffering regardless. Life is hard. You're going to have suffering regardless. Would you rather have that suffering right now, where you are actually building something at the end? That's the risk, is like, hey, I'm suffering right now and I can't see this reward, but this reward is there. Or would you rather have it where you have, some sort of good feelings right now, dopamine releases, but then in the end, you're going to suffer? With suffering, it's going to require some sort of sacrifice. I see this all of the time in business, all of the time, where people cannot give up whatever short-term release or satisfaction that they have in order to be able to go up in whatever their purpose is. They're more addicted to the short-term things than they are to whatever the long-term goal or purpose actually is. Let's bring Joe back up. Okay, so we got Joe. He's back. And Joe was, he's saying he wants to work really hard. He's gonna grind. He's talking about he's gonna grind. He's gonna put all these hours in. He's gonna be, he's gonna lock in. It's a lock in season for Joe. But Joe has, it's a girlfriend. Okay, this is a big one. Joe wants to grind. He wants to work. Joe sees the vision. Joe sees the vision. But she doesn't see that. She just sees Joe. People will give up whatever their long-term goals are in life just because they're with somebody that they probably won't be with for life. They're probably just with for that certain time, but they'll give up their long-term goals and sacrifice their long-term goals just to make somebody else happy that isn't bodied on that long-term goal. See this all the time. Now, don't get me wrong. What I'm not saying right now, just want to be clear, is don't get a girlfriend. Don't get married. I'm not saying any of that stuff, so don't take it that way. But what I am saying is there's three things that can bring you down. There's drugs and alcohol, that's one, ego, and the wrong partner. The wrong partner is the worst out of those. It's the biggest culprit out of those three, because people will fall in love, or what they think is love. So Joe falls in love, and because she's focused on him and nagging him because he's always constantly working, 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 trying to get that vision, and she doesn't see the vision, she just sees him. She gets in his ear, and he goes, "Okay, I'm not going to pursue that anymore because she's telling me not to." And he looks back at her, and then she leaves. And then Joe's just by himself, and he got the Drake back, and the Netflix back, and the weed back, and he's sad. There's a little tear for Joe. One ball. His fault. So find a partner that's invested into your visions and your beliefs just like you are, or don't be with them. What is the actual purpose of purpose? We're gonna get Joe out here real quick. What's the actual purpose behind purpose? Why is purpose so important that we're willing to give up these short-term gratifying things that are, of course, very attractive to us, what we're attracted to them. That's why it's so popular, and that's why it's taken over society. How are we going to have a strong enough meaning behind our purpose? Why is our purpose going to be compelling enough? How is it compelling enough to be able to give up those things? So what purpose does, first of all, you have to know that it gives you meaning and fulfillment. If you're going through life and you don't really know what the heck you're why you're on this earth, what your meaning is on this earth, what are you doing on this earth that's giving you fulfillment, and you're not sure about that, I would look at what your purpose is. I would try to identify what your purpose is. And I would suggest that the only real purpose is being able to impact other people in a positive way. I think that's the only real purpose. I haven't found one, I haven't listened to anybody that their purpose has been something other than that. Anybody noteworthy or anybody notable. What purpose does also is it gives you some sort of identity and clarity and strength during times of your life that are chaotic, because there will be times in your life that are chaotic, especially if you have big dreams. Big dreams cause big devils. So whenever you're pursuing something big in life, you're going to face more and more adversities in order to be able to pursue that thing. The only difference between you and somebody that's successful is that they've gone through more adversities than you, and they've sacrificed more than you. So whenever you have a purpose in life that you're trying to pursue with all of your might, you're going to go through chaotic times, and you're going to have some sort of identity of yourself during those times and what your doctrine is to be able to pursue that purpose and not be swayed during people that are trying to pull you in all different directions. That also helps with clarity. That also helps with strength. Again, all during times of chaos and adversity, which are bound to happen. Okay, you don't focus. So many people nowadays are focused on trying to be liked. Don't get me wrong, you don't want everyone to hate you, okay? But who cares if everyone, like, no, not everyone's gonna like you. Not everyone's gonna like you. Okay, I don't care whatever your religious beliefs are, okay? But obviously Christianity and Catholicism is very popular. And Jesus lived a great life, but they killed him. It doesn't matter if you believe or don't believe, whatever. That is a historical thing, is that Jesus was killed. He was a good person. He was killed, right? MLK was killed. Gandhi was killed, right? So you're not gonna get liked regardless. It doesn't matter. But what you do need to be is be remembered. Leave some sort of legacy. When you're aligned with purpose, you're also harder to manipulate because you know what's right. You have a set doctrine in life and something you're trying to fulfill, and it's hard for other people, for some sort of person to get in and some sort of snake to slither in and pull you off of whatever your game is and whatever you're trying to accomplish. You stay extremely locked in on it, even if the results aren't there yet, because you know what you're trying to accomplish. You know what the end goal is. So, how do you actually live your life with purpose? What are the actionable steps to be able to like implement purpose? Like, okay, great, Marshall, purpose sounds awesome. Like, I understand why purpose is important. I understand why going out drinking with friends on the weekends and listening to Netflix all day and, sitting around on the couch all day and not lifting and not, developing myself physically and just basically doing nothing with my life that God has given me. I understand why purpose is more important than these short-term releases that I'm chasing after. Now, how do I actually implement it? Here's how. Number one, you have to identify it. Number two, you have to actually audit your habits. Like, what are you doing in life? Like, what are your actual habits in life? Like, what are you auditing versus what are you allowing? Audit. Number three, sacrifice over satisfaction. The handwriting sucks. It's okay. It's about what's being said. It's not about the handwriting itself. You're just gonna have to deal with it. Number four is surround yourself with people who are winners. That's huge. What's your surrounding? What's your circle look like? We hear about this all the time, but still we'll be best friends with somebody that drinks and plays video games because they're funny. They don't provide any value to you. Number one, identify what your purpose is. We already talked about the large majority of purposes. Any purpose that's meaningful has some sort of impact and some sort of influence on other people. So I would start there and try to figure out, okay, like what am I actually trying to accomplish with this life? I get one go around on this earth. I only get one shot at this thing. Like if you're 20 years old right now, guess what? This is the last time you're ever gonna be 20. You're not gonna ever go back and be 20 again. Ever. Ever. It's done. This year goes by, it's done. If you're 30, same thing. You're only 30 one time in your life, and then you never ever go back to it. Ever. Today, the day you're watching this right now, is the only day, whatever the date is the only day that you will exist during that date. There's no reruns, there's no second chances. So, what's your purpose? Make sure it's something that is meaningful to you and has a larger impact outside of you, because it's easy to be disciplined whenever you identify what your purpose is and it's something that knocks on you and knocks on your spirit every single day. Second thing, auditing your habits. Okay, so what daily actions are you doing and do they align with your purpose? So habits can make you or they can break you. If you have a bad habit that you know about, sometimes it can really hurt to burn that thing off. But again, that goes back to, is your purpose greater than you? Is your purpose greater than sitting around and watching Netflix all day? Like, if you're to sit down, if I were to sit down and watch Netflix all day, my feet would be bouncing up and down. I'd be biting my fingers. It wouldn't be enjoyable, because there's some I need to have some sort of impact and influence on other people. It's always knocking at me. It's way greater than whatever the Netflix series is. That's a fake thing that was made up that doesn't have any influence on my life whatsoever. It's not even real. So audit whatever your habits are, and that is going to be easier to do if you have a stronger belief in your purpose. Number three, sacrifice over satisfaction. Goes back to what we were just talking about. What short-term thing, some short-term dope being released, short-term gratification are you doing that if you gave up would give you your goals? Don't lie to yourself. You may be sitting there thinking, okay, well, I do this one thing and it doesn't really take up that much time, so it's really not even that bad because it doesn't take up that much time. It's the concept. If you gave that thing up, how many other people want it bad enough to where they would give said thing up? If they gave that thing up and it's a bad thing, but you do it, but only takes 10, 20 minutes, whatever that may be. If you gave that thing up and somebody else didn't, you clearly want it better than the other person. So God is going to bless you because you have shown more discipline in the purpose that you're trying to fulfill opposed to the other person. That other person, you're gonna be more worthy of that award. Regardless if it's 10, 20 minutes of separation or not, you're gonna be more worthy of that award because you sacrificed in order to get that award. You didn't listen, you didn't fall to temptation. It shows how locked in are you on what you're trying to accomplish. If you're playing a sport and you're a minute late for practice, you didn't miss much of practice. You missed 1 minute. Who the heck cares, right? It's not a big deal. But you missed 1 minute of practice. You showed up late. So the coach is going to know that you're not as locked in as the person that was on time or the person that was early. Same thing with God with our lives. Number 4, surround yourself with winners. I hinted at this earlier. You're friends with people because they're funny or because they drink and they're funny whenever they drink, or you're friends with people because I don't know, they're good at FIFA, something stupid. Stuff that has nothing to do with your actual purpose or your actual influence on other people. You're friends with people that are just feeding into and exacerbating whatever your short-term gratifying habits are. You need to cut those people off if they're not willing to change and pursue the people that are locked in on pursuing some sort of purpose that aligns closely to yours. That's your sum of your, what is it? You're an average of the 5 people you surround yourself by. That is 1000% true. Okay, so those are the 4 things that if we can implement, if we do identification, identify what our actual purpose is, if we audit our habits, if we sacrifice if we sacrifice things that are satisfying to us, and if we surround ourselves with winners, if we do those 4 things, then we're going to be on a life that is pursuing purpose. We're going to be on a life that's on the correct path. Don't live a life that ends whenever you die. Live a life where your name actually is remembered and your name has actually some sort of impact and influence and had some sort of meaning to it, instead of just being forgotten in the wind like 99% of other people that live. Actually have some purpose, actually have some influence, actually have some sort of legacy that you leave behind. Or else, what's the point? That's a sad life. We're talking about you're not depressed, you're just doing short term gratifying things. The reason why you're depressed is because you don't feel like you have any purpose to your life. And it's true, because you're not doing anything that has some sort of lasting impact. Those are the things that matter. Your future self will thank you if you start taking action today. The best thing that you could have done was start this 10 years ago, right? Just like they say, the best time to plant a tree was 10 years ago. But the second best time is today. Don't wait. Go after it and actually start implementing these 4 steps in your life today. If you put it out there and you make that, there's a saying where if you make a commitment public, it's a stronger commitment. If you put it out there in the comments, what resonated with you and what you got out of this and what you can implement, then that's probably the first step to being able to implement any of these actionable steps. That's all I got for y'all. Purpose over pleasure. Let's go.